Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So Kanye West has a supporter slash advisor slash warner. And it is none other than Sean Diddy Combs.
Yes, who himself obviously has a slew of issues he is dealing with, but is taking some time out to sort of counsel Kanye. And Kanye seems very open to it. This is a phone call between them, which the Shade Room obtained. Now, this sounds like it's the same call that Kanye recorded and used in the song Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine. This is the one that North is on as well. Told you all about that. But they had a very lengthy conversation. And here at the beginning, it sounds like, as Harvey said, that Diddy is offering some sort of warning to Kanye.
It's wicked, wicked, wicked. So you be careful.
Yeah.
We can't do nothing if they, you know what I'm saying? I need you out there, you feel me?
Yeah. I hear you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Man, have fun.
Yeah.
Have no fun. Get behind the mic, have some fun. Chop up them samples, get back on your feet, man. Vibe, have some fun, get back to smiling.
Yeah.
These are they're wasting your time, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be careful out there, because they definitely trying to end us, you feel me?
Yeah.
They can't do it. They can't do it, and they ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And get next to you.
Yeah.
We're gonna raise our families and become the kings that we supposed to be, you feel me?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're trying to end us. Who are they?
This sounds like a page out of what we know part of his defense strategy is going to be, that to say that this is, he's being prosecuted
Because he's a black man.
He's a successful, rich, successful black man.
That is his. That is one of the things he's going to raise.
Right.
I don't know how that equates to Kanye.
He's saying that you are the same thing, and just be careful. The things you do, they may find, they being, I guess, prosecutors, the government may find a way to take you down.
You know, you may be right, but I think that's odd because Kanye's not being
Not in any criminal
right
trouble whatsoever.
and that's why it's just an odd thing.
Well, I mean, think about it. From Diddy's standpoint, he wasn't doing anything wrong either, and they just decided they were going to come after him, is the way he's viewing it.
That's a very kind way to put it for Diddy, the idea that he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. I mean, I know that's his legal defense, and I know that in the court of public opinion, he is trying to argue that he is a oppressed black man. I'm not sure that really holds weight given the facts. And certainly with Kanye, I agree, he hasn't really played that card before, and he's not doing anything illegal. And that
offensive.
Bad news, yeah,
Yes.
I'm wearing the swastika shirt. I don't know, how he's gotten away with a lot.
Well, but you know what? See, I thought Diddy just threw that in, that they are going to try and bring us down. But a lot of the other stuff that you just heard, to me, is a warning. Stop the anti-Semitic crap, and and do some good music.
I didn't hear that.
He didn't say anti-Semitic,
Right.
but he's saying start smiling again. Start put some good music out there. And it's almost like he knows what Kanye's been doing. And he's saying,
I'm sure he
get back
does
on,
know,
I actually
so get
heard
back
that
on
a little
track.
bit too. You know, Diddy's actually clamoring for Kanye to return back to the old Kanye, like most of his fan base. You know, he's been going on rants for days, dissing rappers by the mile, and Diddy's saying, get back to what you do best, and
If
that's
you're making
not
hits,
being on
that
X.
was interesting. The part where he said, "Get back on your hit-making vibe, man. Like, stop all this other stuff you're doing."
But
I guess you could take it that way. Yeah.
That was, to me, the overarching thing. It's also just really interesting to watch Kanye and see how deferential he is and how reverential he is to Diddy. I
take him at his word when he says that the Diddy was very influential, was a role model to him before he even knew him, just because he admired his music and what he did in the studio, and I think it clearly inspired Kanye in ways. So.
Now the question,
it's an odd pairing.
It is.
Right?
It's an odd pairing. But now the question: what is Kim Kardashian? How is she processing this? Because she, just a day ago, she was furious that this song dropped with Diddy and their daughter North.
Right.
And
now Kim has no say over who Kanye.
No. I know.
But I know what you mean. Like on the song,
right?
That I get. But if outside of the music, if he wants to talk to Diddy and be best buddies with him.
He can, Charles. He can do that, but it's another brick on this wall of distrust that Kim's got to have with Kanye, and like just the fact that he's now sort of become buddies with somebody accused of such incredible wrongdoing, the victimization of women like that. It's hard as the mother of daughters, I think, for Kim to maybe stomach some of that.
I'm Alina Tarkazikis, and boy, is this a messy duo. Kanye is already in enough hot water, and he needs to stay far away from Diddy for the sake of his family. And frankly, Diddy aligning himself with controversial Kanye isn't going to make his image any better.
I will say, in a couple weeks, we're dropping, around 2 weeks, we're dropping a new documentary. We've done 3 documentaries for Tubi called The Downfall of Diddy. We have a 4th one, and this one centers on his defense. Mm-hmm. And everybody thinks, they're going to basically lay down and die in the courtroom. That's not the case. And you're going to actually hear elements of the defense he's going to raise, and we'll explain how in a little bit, but we're going to actually put that to the test. Yep. So it's going to be an interesting doc. We're going to move on.
Yes, to Tracy Morgan and a very interesting night at Madison Square Garden where the Knicks were playing and Tracy was on the court side, when he got violently sick. And it actually ended up stopping the game for several minutes as he was vomiting.
We're gonna censor this because
we'll censor
it's hard
Don't
to
worry
look
about
at.
it. You're not going
to
see
it is a torrent of vomit.
Yes.
Torrent of vomit.
And they had to send medics out there to try and help him.
By the way, that wasn't the only
That was
hurl.
one wave of it. They came and put him in a wheelchair. We now know what this was, because obviously people were very concerned. Tracy's had medical issues in the past, including diabetes, and people were concerned about his safety.
We now know that it was food poisoning. So Tracy posted on Instagram this morning from the hospital where he said, he was checked out. Ultimately, it ended up just being food poisoning, and he kind of made light of it, saying, now the Knicks ended up winning the game, so they're 1-0 when he throws up on the court. So he has a good sense of humor. And the scary part, though, obviously him just getting wheeled out, and like you mentioned, Charles, the health issues he's had in the past. Some people were reporting that he was bleeding out of his nose and mouth, but I spoke to someone close to Tracy who said that just was not accurate. That did not happen.
Do they have any, or does he have any idea what he ate? I'm kind of interested.
Yes. I asked, and we haven't been able to get to the bottom of it, but I was told that whoever he ate with did not get sick, so it's really unclear what he ate at this point that caused him to get so violently ill.
Well, why are you so personally concerned about this, Harvey?
I get
somebody had a bad breakfast.
Yeah, I get up really early, and I make chicken for breakfast and brought it into the office, and I looked at it, and I thought, that's a little bit pink. Just a little, and I still ate it.
You probably shouldn't be eating chicken at 5:30 a.m.
I'll just point out that we have this nearby just in case. Just in case.
But I'm a trooper. And
you're the trooper. I think I'm the trooper.
First of all, I'm the one suffering right now.
If you get anything on my shoes, man, you get anything on these shoes.
That's super, well, whatever. Okay, well, we'll not say that.
Lamara here from Bolingbrook, Illinois. I'm so happy to hear that Tracy is doing well because it's hard enough being a Knicks fan already. I would hate to have to go to a courtside game and have a visit to the ER in the same day. I would be switching teams if I was Tracy. Knicks fans are dedicated.
It's not the Knicks' fault.
Yeah, it's not the Knicks' fault that happened. He's actually proud of the Knicks for winning.
Yeah.
Although, again, they stopped the game for like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Ugh. Who had to clean that up?
The janitors, man.
I mean, they should get a raise. Okay, we're going to take a break.
Yes, when we come back, Mel Gibson jumping into the governor's office in California. There are a lot of people who want to see it happen. How does Mel feel about it? You'll find out. Well, Mel Gibson has his hands full right now. He's already an ambassador, right? He's been named an ambassador to Hollywood by President Clinton. President Trump. Where did Clinton come from?
I don't know. There's a move to get his gun back.
Yeah, but there is a role he does not want, and that is governor of California.
But who knew
that anybody else wanted him to be governor of California.
Mel Gibson is polling strong. He is the highest polling Republican in a new poll that's out. Look at that.
Yeah, this poll was done last week by a newspaper here in California. But Katie Porter is at Congresswoman at 25%, Kamala Harris at 20%, and then
Mel Gibson at 11%.
Right in the middle of the pack. Chad Bianco is the sheriff of Riverside County. Mike McGuire is
He's a state senator.
Yeah.
It's a weird poll to me.
It does.
And I'll tell you why it's a weird poll. We'll get into it in a minute, but it's a weird poll because this is very theoretical until people announce and they start campaigning and putting ads on TV, and then everything starts to shift. But the idea that 11%, that Mel Gibson is the highest rated Republican, I think says something about Maga.
Yes. And that
because he's identified as Maga in California.
As Maga and has been very prominent, has been very visible this year, partly because of tragedy and what happened in Malibu, his home burning down,
but also
with Trump. Right.
I mean, he's been
being named an ambassador,
front and center at Mar-a-Lago.
I agree that he has definitely gotten more involved in the political discourse. I mean, you see him on cable news very frequently. I don't think that this indicates that like Mel Gibson is like the star player of the Republican or the MAGA movement bench. I think what it shows is that California is an unwinnable state for a Republican. The last time there was a Republican in office as governor was Arnold Schwarzenegger, which many people would say he was a Republican in name only. Many different values than the Republican base.
California is shifting some.
The whole country is shifting, I think.
You're right, but I mean, Trump polled stronger in California than people expected. And look, there's this whole movement now against the left wing of the Democratic Party. And the Democrats are kind of in a mess right now, with the whole Chuck Schumer thing and everything else on where to go. So I don't know.
If you're Donald Trump and you obviously would love nothing more than to actually
comes out and campaigns.
You come out and you campaign for someone like Mel Gibson, but Mel has said he doesn't want this. I think it's pretty obvious why Mel Gibson would not want to get into politics.
Can you imagine? Right. I mean, you don't have to do too much opposition research to attack Mel. That would be a massacre. I just don't. It is shifting. I don't think that the Republicans are in a place yet where they feel like they can reasonably win an election. Maybe in 8 years down the line, maybe it's possible then at that point. I don't think they're there yet where they can actually win the California race.
Everything is so on its head right now that I don't think you can say that. I have no idea. But with the way things are going right now in the country, listen, Donald Trump is polling at his highest number in the most recent poll, 47%.
Oh, Harvey, you got to look. Look, if you look at the right track, wrong track of the country, you've got to go back all the way to January of 2004 to find 44% of the people in the country who feel like the country is on the right track. That's where we are right now.
And you look at what's going on with the Democrats in California. Look at Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has done a seismic change in terms of, a podcast where he's bringing, people in the right wing onto the podcast, taking a lot of heat for it. He's taken positions now that are way more moderate than...
Clearly moving to the center.
Clearly.
But I agree with Babcock. It is shifting. I don't think California's there yet.
Depends on who the Democrat is. Let's say it's Kamala Harris.
I still think a Democrat wins. I don't know.
It depends. Not, you know what? The gap is not as huge as I thought. I looked it up in 2022. Newsom got 59.2% of the vote. The Republican candidate got 40.8%. So it's an 18% difference.
That's a big gap.
It's a big difference.
It's big,
but when was that taken, Babcock?
That was 2022.
Okay, a lot has changed.
Sure.
A lot has changed in this country.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Andrew Washington, and I'm from Long Island, New York. People are thrusting Mel Gibson into this political forum, and he said he doesn't want to be in it. He's flattered. So I don't understand why everyone's pushing him. Just because Donald Trump named him ambassador doesn't mean he's going to be a good politician.
No. Don't get us wrong. We're not saying he'd be good. We're just saying it's fascinating that he's that popular.
I mean, good is no longer...
It doesn't matter. That's not the operative
standard.
Absolutely. We're going to move on.
Yes, to Mariah Carey and her big night at the iHeart Music Awards, where she was obviously the spotlight was on her because she was getting the Icon Award. But really, at the end of the night, people were talking about who was on her arm. That's Anderson .Paak. And they've been seen together quite a bit over the Christmas break. They were in Aspen. But he was right next to her when she was announced and kind of helped her up to get on stage there.
She had like 3 people helping.
Right.
And in the beginning, you guys, we were told that they weren't dating, like back in December time, like you mentioned, Charles, when they were first seen together. But now that they're here at a big award show where she's being honored, it's like a big moment for her. He's by her side. It definitely seems like something a little more. It's possible maybe they're working on music together, but
they are definitely working on music together. So that part is happening.
But look, here's the thing, like whether they're trying to like promote their song or whatever, it's definitely possible to kind of fall in love with somebody and become romantically involved when you're working with them as well.
Why is she?
I don't see it there though. Even when she won, it wasn't like she turned to him for like any congratulatory hug.
I think it's interesting though that the two of them showed up together because they know what the rumors are, and at the very least they're fueling it.
Yes,
but maybe they're together. I don't know. Why is she walking so slow? It's
you don't understand how divas work, man.
Is that a diva move?
Nah.
Yes, it's very much a diva move. She's always like that, and that's just her thing.
Okay, good, good.
Hi guys, it's Samantha Love from sunny Miami, Florida, and
okay. I already hate you.
What?
What the? Well, I want to be there.
It's beautiful here.
I know.
I'm a second-generation lamb, and to be honest, when you're Mariah Carey, it doesn't matter who you're dating because you're Mariah Carey. She has ran the music industry from songwriting to just being herself. So whether she's with him or not, it doesn't matter because she's the MC.
What part of Miami?
Downtown.
Oh, I lived in Coral Gables on Sunset.
Oh, okay. I know where that's at.
Yeah, I loved it.
Do you think she cares?
I don't know.
It was long before you were born, by the way. Long before you were born, you lived there.
Check this out. I had a 1-bedroom apartment, and the place had a pool and a tennis court, and I paid $195 a month.
When was that? 1958?
Okay.
Almost.
That's insulting.
Almost.
That's insulting.
Please. She's off by like 10 years.
No, she's off by more than 10 years. She's off by way more than 10 years.
12.
No? 1976.
Okay. There we go. Someone's feeling better.
We're going to take a break.
All right. When we come back, Bachelor alum Sean Lowe detailing a vicious dog attack that he suffered from his own dog. But he has an interesting take on what went wrong and what he wants to have happen to the dog now.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall. Yeah, right.
It's TMZ.
Former Bachelor, TV Bachelor, that is, Sean Lowe, also actual Bachelor. So Sean suffered a really horrific dog attack. Actually, he was attacked twice by a rescue dog.
His own?
His own rescue dog. And he is now explaining what went down with there's the dog. Oh, it's a dog.
It reminds me of Floyd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does kind of look like Floyd. But Sean was having a barbecue. The smoke started to blow into the house, which set off his smoke alarm in the house. He went in to go deal with that. And as he was dealing with it, that's when Moose came in and the attack started. So here's Sean explaining what happened once the attack started. And then we're going to get into what Moose's fate may be here.
He shows his teeth at me and just attacks me. And I don't mean like bite and run off like a lot of dogs do when they're scared or defensive. I mean, attacks me. And I feel him just kind of ripping into the flesh of my arm. And at this point, I am doing everything I possibly can just to fend this dog off. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I honestly just felt like I am fighting for my life here against a dog. No, not just a dog, my dog. I looked down at my arm and it was the worst of the bunch, but that was cut so deep and I just see blood squirting. It wasn't Moose's fault. I think it's clear experienced a lot of trauma before we got him.
This is so true. I mean, I have lived this. And we had a dog that was so wonderful and so sweet for 8 months. It was a rescue. I think he had boxer in him. And all of a sudden, I was playing with him one night, and I was just playing with his jowls, and he went.
Right.
And it triggered something, and then he started, like 2 nights later, going after me and wouldn't stop. And it's not him. He was his disposition.
There's a trigger that you don't
There was
know.
a trigger, and you just, sometimes they go through this trauma, and it may be that the fire alarm just set something off in this
Certainly
dog.
sounds like it was the fire alarm that set it off, because he had no previous incidents with Moose. But it was bad, and the attack happened again later in the day when he came back and the dog went after him again.
Right.
So at this point, there are obvious people who are hearing Sean's story who think like, well, Moose has to be put down.
Guys, it happened like a third time too. It happened the next morning as well. So there were 3 attacks by this dog. I think he might have to get put down at this point.
Sean is saying he doesn't want Moose to be put down. He would rather see Moose go back to the rescue agency where he got him, and then hopefully he can be retrained. But
The crazy thing is this is not the first time that this has happened to that family. They had a dog in 2023 that I think it was also kind of boxerish, but it bit one of their kids on the head, and then they had to rehome it. The kid had like a staple in his head. So it seems like every dog that they get, there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, look, I will just say this, because I am such a believer in rescue dogs. I just think they can be so loving because they know, I mean, just as they can be traumatized, they also know when they've been saved. And they are fantastic. The only thing I would say is there are a lot of rescue organizations out there. One of the things that is really good is if you can find one of these organizations that will foster the dog they take in, so that the foster family can then
find
say,
out if
here's
there
what the
are
dog
triggers.
is like.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you could find that, it's best case scenario.
Hi, my name is Angie and I'm from the UK. Now, I feel like Sean hasn't actually had much luck with dogs, as this, as we know, is something that has happened again. I feel that this is half his fault and half the rescue centre's fault. I feel that a dog that needs to be rehomed needs to have a lot of attention, and I think it's absolutely shocking that the rescue centre did not have the history on this dog before rehoming them with a couple with children.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know whether
the rescue agency
whether the rescue agency
background.
took it and then immediately gave it to them. We don't know. Just the advice I gave, I think, is pretty sound.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Don Lemon going off on MAGA. Not all people in the MAGA movement, black people specifically. He says it makes no sense to be black and also MAGA. He says it's not possible. How does that go over with some black people? Well, D.L. Hughley is going to be here to talk about this because we've heard this before. Is it offensive or does Don have a point? We'll get into it with D.L. Welcome back to TMZ Live, and a hot take coming in from Don Lemon. Some people will see this as a hot take. Others will say, I've kind of heard this before. But Don was on Club Random.
What's Bill screwing around with water for?
Normally he doesn't drink water, you're right. But he was on Bill Maher's podcast. Maybe he's, feeling a little ill. Anyway, that's not the issue here. Don was on Club Random, and they got into a conversation about Donald Trump. Obviously, you would expect that. And then Don had this to say about black people who are supporting Donald Trump, specifically people who are MAGA, not just Republican.
Not all black Republicans, but I see a black MAGA person who is carrying Donald Trump's water and they know that he's lying. It is the shortest line to the front. Because if you're black and you're whatever, you're just in line with a bunch of other Democrats that are doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you become a black MAGA person, it's like, whoa, let's book this person, let's put him on television.
So you don't think you can be a sincere black MAGA person?
I don't think that you can be a rational MAGA, be black and be a rational MAGA person. I think you can be black and be a Republican.
I think they would find that very insulting.
Well, I mean, the truth is often insulting.
Wow.
Interesting. And as you would expect, there are a lot of people who are Republican and who are black who have had strong opinions about this.
Well,
we're going to get into
we should just say what the numbers are. So in the last election, 16% of black people voted for Donald Trump, which is the highest number Republicans have gotten in years. And 1 out of 4 black men over 50 supported Donald Trump.
Right.
So those are the numbers.
But does Don have a point? Well, we're going to get into that. Joining us now, our good friend, comedian, author, activist, D.L. Hughley. What's going on, D.L.? How you doing?
I just thought it was hilarious that Bill Maher's Jesse Jackson down, telling just saying what black people gonna be insulted by. That was hilarious.
Well, what about his point? What about his point?
Obviously, we're not a monolith, but I will say this. I remember when Donald Trump was on stage saying in Detroit, I believe it was, and he said any black person that doesn't support me needs their head examined. But he was on stage with Tommy Hearns and Antonio Brown, 2 black people that definitely need their head examined. So I think there is something to the fact that I think that black people in the MAGA movement are like, when Donald Trump rolls them out, like if he's gonna, if he got convicted of 34 felonies, Stephen A. Smith will say, well, that's why black people can relate to him. Or when he's getting ready to dismantle Black history, he'll call Marcellus Wiley out to come to a Black history celebration. Or when he's defunding cancer research for kids, he'll call a black kid out who has cancer. So he uses, Donald Trump uses black people like most people use Fabuloso to clean the smell up.
Well, look, but believe me, this is not my defense of Donald Trump. I have lots of issues, but it's not exclusive to black people. I mean, gay people. There are gay people, a lot of them who support Donald Trump, and gay marriages on the chopping block. There are people,
But look at what they all have in common. They all have this in common. They are willing to do the most onerous things to the people who are like them. They're all willing to do all those things, and they know that they're going to be tokenized. They know that they're going to be. A lot of times, you can tell what they feel by what they can't say. They never speak out an objection to anything, and they oftentimes go against their own interests. And I will say the thing that I've noticed that consistently about those people, like you can't just be silent. You have to participate. Like Kanye West is a MAGA supporter, but he's a Nazi. He supports Hitler. Candace Owens is a MAGA supporter, and she said deferential things to Hitler. So you can't just be, you have to, not only do you have to be his supporter, but you have to detract and demean the people who you come from.
So hold on, I want to get your reaction to this, DL, because Congressman Wesley Hunt from Texas,
sure.
He saw Don's appearance with Bill Maher, and he said, I'm a proud husband, father of 3, combat veteran, West Point graduate, Ivy League triple degree holder, and a U.S. congressman. You know how I achieved that, Don? By being a serious, rational person.
Let's be real. How many people with those same qualifications have been fired and called DEI? Kamala Harris was called DEI for having those exact same qualifications. So let's not pretend that he rolled out his resume. That resume among his people, among the people would be DEI. They would say he wasn't worthy of it. So that's what you have to do when you're a MAGA black person. The very defenses that people use to demean other black people, you have to pretend like you didn't hear them. Now, how many black people?
I want to ask you something, because it's not.
Wait, here's the point. If a black man said the exact same thing and he wasn't MAGA Republican and he was in a high position in Congress, they would say he was DEI hire. And he would be quiet about other people when they said it about him. When they say you eating dogs, when Haitians are eating dogs, you never hear anything from them. When they say they're good people on both sides, you never hear anything from them. And that is the price of admission for being a black MAGA person. You can do whatever you want, but let's be clear. You never hear them object to anything that happened.
If you're a Democrat, is it a more effective tactic to go after the actual policies and not after people,
or go after the person who's running the country?
Or if you want to go after individuals, but to not make it about certain groups.
You asked me a question, I answered the question. Those are kind of the traits I notice about them. You're free to do whatever you want. I'm not the thing.
No,
for
no,
all
I
things.
know, I know.
But ultimately, you want to change.
strategy
You
for
want
the
to change
Democrats.
minds,
If you
and
want
you're
to
not
win,
changing minds
hold
this
on,
way.
but we're saying if Democrats want to win,
There's some people. I think what I've noticed in a lot of black men that I know that support him, there is a quotient of selfishness that he's tapped into. They want to be like him. They want to lie and they want to steal and they want to be loud and they want to be able to say what they want.
Wow.
That onerousness, they do.
But that's how. See, that's a problem. That's a problem. I have a problem with both parties because the Democrats just want to shame people, and what you're saying is that shaming. Even from within, they want to shame people.
When Stephen A. Smith said black people relate to him because he had felonies, how is that any different than me admitting that that's what they think?
Well, I agree with that. Look, I agree with that point.
All of them, regardless of the points we're making, I'm giving you factual things that have happened. You're telling me you're offended by the things that I'm telling you.
No, I'm not saying I'm offended. I'm saying you're not effective in changing minds when you're shaming people.
If you want, listen. Their shame has nothing to do with me.
It does.
I'm telling you. No. I'm telling you my analytical perspective. I have noticed these traits. When I don't, Marcellus Wiley and his family get called to a Black History celebration. At the same time, he's destroying Black history. Now, those things don't happen in a vacuum. So I'm not going to pretend like I don't know that. I don't care about what happens and who does what. I can tell you what I do is speak for me. I don't speak for anybody else. But do not tell me that I am shaming somebody because I'm telling you the things I see. I refuse to accept that on his face.
So this final thing, he got a lot of votes from the Latino community, from the Black community, and other communities that typically don't vote Republican. Why do you think they voted for him?
Here's the thing that we're forgetting. Not 12 years ago, 14 years ago, George Bush got a higher number. It's not, come on now. George Bush got a higher number of Latins and Blacks. So this is, I don't know if it's cyclical. I don't know what's happening. I can't tell you that. But let's stop pretending like this 16% that he got was the benchmark for Republicans.
It's a big deal.
Name me a thing I'm wrong about, and then we'll have a conversation. Because
I can, but we're out of time. I could, but we're out of time.
You could.
I'm not waving the white flag. I'm not waving the flag.
See, you changed that flag. You started to say white flag, and you're like, no, that's me flag. I'm not waving the flag.
You're absolutely right.
DL, thank you, man. Always great talking to you.
Thanks,
We'll
DL.
talk to you soon. All right.
Hey, listen. I'll be at I'll be in Hartford, Connecticut at the Funny Bone, Hartford, Connecticut. Next week I'm coming back. I love these conversations because one of the things that I think is important is that people are honest, and I don't think that Don. If you're insulted because somebody questions your motives, be insulted when they do that to somebody else who doesn't wear the letter by their name. That young man could have said something about Kamala Harris's her bona fides being questioned. He could have said something about other people who've had the black mayor in Baltimore, the black mayor in California of Los Angeles got called DEI. So when it's walked down your street, don't be quiet about it if you don't like people insulting somebody's bona fides.
All right.
Last word.
All right.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon, DL.
Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, new details in the Gene Hackman death investigation, what police now know about the timeline and when his wife died. It is not what it seemed to them at first. Well, the investigation into Gene Hackman's death was not complete, even though the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe said that they believed she died on February 11th and that he died a week later. That was based upon
where she had been, surveillance cameras,
and the autopsy.
But they said that we're still looking at her cell phone records to see if she placed any calls, but they said she probably did die on February 11th.
Right.
Turns out, not true.
No, because they got the phone records back and found out that Betsy made 3 phone calls on February 12th to a local medical center, although they say she was not calling in distress. And
it was not apparently about the hantavirus.
No, it was not about hantavirus, which she contracted. People at the medical center said that she was calling about an appointment, a future appointment.
Which is kind of weird because if she died from hantavirus and was that ill,
why wouldn't she have mentioned
why
it
wouldn't she have
to a
mentioned
medical-
it to the medical office with 3 phone calls? So that's part of this mystery.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very strange, right? The 3 outgoing calls, she might not have known how the extent of how the sickness was progressing. Maybe she wanted to remain calm. What's most telling to me, however, is that there was 1 missed call in the other direction from the medical
Incoming call to
operation,
her phone.
incoming call to her. And that might indicate that maybe she was okay during the 3 calls out, but then might have passed out on that day. So it's possible that she died on the 12th.
Stevie Derrick, Indianapolis, Indiana. I think this entire situation is really strange, and I really hope that the investigators dig a little deeper into what that phone call and phone calls from her would have been and what really happened behind this, because it's so strange to hear that she made a phone call but didn't really tell what happened or what was going on with her. It's really, really strange.
You know, the other thing that's odd is whatever the medical center is, you know, his death was so high profile, and when they held that news conference and they were talking about February 11th, you would think they would have called and said, hey, we got calls on the 12th.
That they had called, that they would call the sheriff and
Right,
tell them that.
right. It's just odd. Okay, we're going to move on.
Yes, to Gwyneth Paltrow, who's talking about her love scenes with Timothée Chalamet. You remember, she's doing a movie called Marty Supreme, where they're the lead characters. And she had talked about the fact that her daughter loves Timothée Chalamet and that she was going to be jealous that, that Gwyneth gets to have these love scenes with him. So she talked to Vanity Fair about the love scenes in particular. This is really bizarre that an actress of Gwyneth Paltrow's status was unfamiliar with the fact that they now have intimacy coordinators as a rule on every movie set. Because she talked about doing this love scene with Timothy, and she goes, there's now something called an intimacy coordinator, which I did not know existed. I was like, girl, I'm from the era where you get naked, you get in bed, the camera's on. We said, meaning she and Timothy, I think we're good. You can step a little bit back.
I find that odd too. Because
she wouldn't have, like, even if she hadn't made a movie in a while where...
Well, she has friends. And she,
right,
I mean,
exactly.
She has lots of friends in the movie biz, and it's a big deal.
She has a lot of friends in the industry, of course, but also she was a leading face during the Me Too movement a few years back, around 2019 when all this was happening, her situation with Harvey Weinstein. So to know that she was such a huge part of that impact is definitely shocking that she's not even aware of what they are. I will say that she hasn't done movies in about 6 years. She called it a soft retirement. So maybe since she hasn't been doing movies as much,
but she has
she's
friends,
not
she
familiar.
reads trades, she has agents.
Well, who knows? Maybe actors don't talk to each other about those things when they see each other off set.
What? You think they
maybe
say...
they don't want to talk about work.
Don't talk about work.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to talk about work. Talk to me about Goop, Gwyneth.
Portland from LA. You know, I also read that she refused the intimacy coordinator because she felt like it stifled her performance. And I just feel like that's so risky. Like, why would you not want someone there and you could communicate to them like, hey, this is going to stifle me. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. And on the other side of that, one wrong move, you're looking at a lawsuit. And I would make sure that did not happen in any way, shape, or form.
And that's why the studios have the...
That's why the studios do it. But for her, she's saying, look, I'm a performer and it stifles me. So I don't know. We're going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Justin Timberlake and that NSYNC reunion, not happening. Not yet, as far as we know. But there is another gig that Justin's interested in. Flight attendant? Yeah, you're going to see it. You might say Justin Timberlake can't stop the flying. Because he's... It seems like he's a little... Oh, come on.
That was awful.
Oh, please. It seems like he's always wanted to moonlight, perhaps as a flight attendant. He's on his way down to South America for Lollapalooza. He's one of the headliners and decided he would jump on the PA system and try his hand at flight attendant.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JT Live 25 South American leg. The life jacket is located in a pouch at the side of your seat. To inflate the life jacket, pull firmly on the red toggles. If you have any questions, keep them to yourself. Oh, we're just kidding. Please ask the crew. We thank you for flying. JT Live 25 Air is finna be lit.
I have questions about this.
Okay, this is his chartered flight going down there, clearly.
Oh, okay. Because if this was a commercial flight, it's like there are a lot of white knuckle flyers.
A lot of
these
issues
days.
going on now.
Yeah, I don't know that I want comedy from that. I'm serious.
Yeah, hopefully they let the actual flight attendants take over for some real safety tips.
I was so confused by this because I looked at it and I thought this was also a commercial flight because it looks like a pretty big plane.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm thinking, my first question was, I mean, Justin Timberlake's really rich. Why is he flying on a commercial flight? I mean, it's cool if you're a passenger and he gets on and he's doing this little golf thing, but my first question when I saw the video was because I thought the plane was pretty long.
To be clear, it is a commercial
It's
plane.
a charter.
Not a private jet.
It's a charter.
Right, he chartered the plane.
Yeah, they chartered the plane. It's
Right.
probably the whole crew, the Lollapalooza crew and whatnot.
Right.
No NSYNC on the plane.
Barbie from Boston. It looks like Justin Timberlake is winning back his legacy with a hole-in-one on the airplane, joining the Mile High Club his own way, and we love that for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Just maybe another.
You're not ready for hijinks.
Timing, yeah. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Anthony, aka Wari, here out of Miami, Florida, and I would like to comment on the Puff and Ye conversation. Despite what has been going on with both of them in the media, you can't deny that they are both musical geniuses and icons. And I love the brotherhood I'm seeing between them. I'm loving that they can consult each other and give each other advice. And I would love to see Ye take Diddy's advice.
Boy, that's breathtaking. That is just breathtaking. I don't know what to say about that. One more.
Hey, it's Leslie in Arkansas, and I just want to comment real quick about Tracy Morgan. You know, I feel so bad for him. To get sick is one thing, but to get sick on national TV, courtside at a basketball game, it's just got to be the pits. So I am happy to hear that it's just food poisoning, so I hope he gets better soon, and I'm sure he'll make a joke out of it.
What if somebody sat there next to him and mocked him as he was throwing up? What would you think?
Oh, you know, I don't know. I think that would be poor taste of that person.
No kidding.
But
No kidding. So
Okay,
I'm going to show
great.
you. I'm going to show you something when we come back from commercial. Stick around, Leslie, because he was mocking me.
That is not true.
Because I ate bad chicken today.
What you did was cruel and unusual,
I'm going to
sir.
show you what I did. I got payback. I got payback.
I just want to say that I was very sensitive to your illness all day.
You mocked me
earlier
all
today
day
when
long.
we were talking about what Tracy Morgan went through. You were laughing at him, and then you said that you weren't feeling well, and I said, "I'm the one who went over and brought this over here. Who brought this over here for
laughing.
you? I brought it over here for you because I was concerned.
So after he
about
brought it
your health.
over, when we were in commercial,
look what he did. That's not funny.
That was funny. Was that funny?
It's not funny.
It was funny.
It's not funny.
It was
Why
funny.
would it have been? You would have felt so badly if you actually did do that to me. It's not funny to put me through that trauma.
I wouldn't feel bad at all if I actually did that to him. I
You
would
get
not
me some new
actually
shoes.
feel bad.
I'll tell you what, you have to pay for some new shoes.
But I mean, the drama was just on point. We'll see you tomorrow.